I had always believed that a strong marriage stands on trust, honesty, and loyalty. For a long time, I was certain that what my wife and I had could never be broken. We shared endless laughter, built dreams together, and faced life's struggles side by side. But slowly, almost unnoticed at first, small cracks began to form. She started arriving home later than usual, offering explanations about work, social gatherings, and time spent with friends. In the beginning, I didn't question her. I told myself that trusting her was part of being a good husband. I convinced myself she was simply busy, maybe overwhelmed, and I refused to become someone who doubted every little thing. Yet deep down, something felt off. That uneasy feeling stayed with me, growing stronger with time. Eventually, the signs became impossible to ignore. She became overly protective of her phone, smiling softly at messages, only to lock the screen the moment I entered the room. Her perfume lingered longer than usual, and she would head straight to the shower as soon as she got home, as if trying to erase the night. Even then, I kept telling myself that suspicion was a form of betrayal. That belief shattered one night, when I finally decided to trust my instincts. She told me she was going out for drinks with a friend. Instead of simply believing her, I drove to the bar and waited nearby in my car. What I saw destroyed me. She was wrapped in another man's arms, kissing him with a passion I thought was mine alone. In that instant, something inside me collapsed. Every memory we had shared, every laugh, every plan for the future, suddenly felt like a cruel lie. I drove home in silence, caught between heartbreak and anger. I knew I had two options: confront her immediately or pretend I knew nothing and wait. That's when the idea came to me, not a loud or aggressive reaction, but something quiet, deliberate. I wanted her to walk into our home believing her secret was safe, only to realize that the truth had already caught up with her. That night, I prepared everything. I printed the photos I had taken, images of her kissing him, holding him, walking beside him as if they were in love. Each picture exposed the life she had been hiding. I placed them neatly on her pillow, exactly where her head would rest. Then I wrote a short note, just 5 words. I know. It's over now. My hands trembled as I set everything in place. Yet inside, I felt an unexpected calm. The truth didn't need my voice anymore. Hours later, I heard the door unlock. My heart pounded, not with love, but with anticipation. She entered quietly, assuming I was asleep. I pretended to snore as she moved carefully, undressing and slipping into bed just like she always had. But this time was different. As she reached for her pillow, her fingers touched the papers underneath. Her movements slowed with confusion. She picked up the photos, using the light from her phone to see them clearly. A sharp gasp broke the silence. Her breathing grew unsteady as she flipped through each image, realizing that every secret she thought was hidden had been exposed. Then, she read the note. I felt her body stiffen beside me, trembling as the truth settled in. She whispered my name, her voice shaking, but I didn't move. I kept my eyes closed, letting her face everything on her own. For once, the power had shifted. She was the one afraid. When I finally opened my eyes, the look on her face was unforgettable. Pale, wide-eyed, desperate. "Please," she said softly, her voice breaking. "It's not what it looks like. The oldest excuse there is." I almost laughed. The proof was already in her hands. I sat up slowly and looked at her with a calmness that seemed to disturb her more than anger ever could. "You came back to this bed like nothing happened," I said quietly. "But you forgot something. I already knew." She reached toward me, but I pulled away. The space between us was no longer just physical, it was permanent. She cried, begged, called it a mistake, insisted she still loved me. But her words felt hollow, like lines memorized from a script. I told her what she didn't want to hear. Love doesn't hide. Love doesn't deceive. And love doesn't look like him. With every word, she seemed to shrink under the weight of her guilt. In that moment, I knew there was nothing left to save. I stood up, picked up the small suitcase I had packed earlier, and headed for the door. She tried to stop me, grabbing my arm, but I gently pulled free. This home, this bed, this life, we built it together, I said, but you destroyed it the moment you chose him. Her sobs filled the room as I walked out. I didn't turn back. For the first time, I wasn't the one breaking. I was choosing myself, holding on to my dignity, and walking away with my head high. The next morning she called, sent messages, even showed up at my workplace. I ignored every attempt. The photos I left behind had already said everything. There was nothing more to say. She returned to our bed thinking she could live two separate lives. Instead, she found my answer waiting. No shouting, no violence, just the truth, laid bare. And sometimes the truth cuts deeper than anything else.